Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have a lot to get through today because the contrast between political narratives and the actual reality on the ground has never been starker. We are seeing a battle play out in real time, not just a battle of policies, but a battle for the very definition of truth in this country. Let's start with what everyone is talking about online right now: cuffing season. Usually, that's a lighthearted term for relationships during the holidays. But in the current political climate, it has been co opted into something much darker. You recently saw the White House release a video using that caption, but the imagery wasn't about holiday romance. It was footage showcasing aggressive border enforcement and the detention of migrants. It was a stark, almost militaristic message sent out during what should be a festive time. California Governor Gavin Newsom didn't let that slide. He flipped the script entirely. He put out his own cuffing season response, but instead of punching down at vulnerable populations, he directed the focus upward at the people in power. His video highlighted the legal issues surrounding key figures in the current administration, effectively asking the question, who are the real dangers to society here? Is it the families seeking a better life? Or is it the individuals in high office who have faced actual legal scrutiny? It was a masterclass in political messaging because it took a piece of propaganda and turned it into a mirror. But this social media war is just the surface level. If you look deeper at what the White House official accounts are posting, it gets even more bizarre. They posted a doctored image of Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries as a Christmas elf. It feels less like official government communication and more like internet trolling. Then you have the former president posting on Instagram about being the most influential man in Europe. Now, we have to pause and ask, influential in what way? If you are working closely with figures like Vladimir Putin, who has destabilized European security, that influence isn't constructive, it's destructive. It's the kind of influence that worries our NATO allies and threatens the post-World War II order that the United States built. While these memes and internet fights grab headlines, there is something much more insidious happening quietly in the background: policy shifts that affect the most vulnerable children in America. We just learned through a court filing about a new directive for the federal Head Start program. For those who don't know, Head Start is a critical lifeline. It provides early childhood education, nutrition, and parent involvement services to low-income families. It is the foundation of the American dream for millions of kids. The administration has reportedly issued a list of banned words that cannot be used in this program. This isn't a list of profanity. These are words like disability, race, trauma, diverse, fostering inclusivity, and even biologically. Think about the practical implications of that. How do you run a medical or educational program for children without using the word disability? How do you address the needs of a child from a difficult background if you are banned from saying the word trauma? This is Orwellian in the truest sense. It is an attempt to erase concepts from existence by banning the language used to describe them. It hinders teachers and social workers from doing their jobs, and ultimately it hurts the children who need help the most. Speaking of who gets help and who doesn't, let's pivot to the Gold Card program. This is perhaps one of the most blatant examples of the commodification of American citizenship we have ever seen. The former president promoted a gold card on his platform, describing it as a direct path to citizenship for qualified people. But when you strip away the marketing language, what is it? It's a pay-to-play system. The details that have come out suggest that if an individual pays $1 million, or if a corporation pays $5 million, they can fast-track citizenship. This isn't about merit, it's about money, and we have to look at who this targets. In previous remarks, there was explicit mention of Russian oligarchs. The quote was, "I know some Russian oligarchs that are very nice people." So the vision here is essentially selling access to the United States to the highest bidder, potentially including foreign nationals whose interests align more with adversaries than with American democracy. It transforms the concept of citizenship from a civic duty and privilege into a luxury product for the global elite. Now, while these policy shifts are happening, there is also a growing conversation about the fitness of leadership. It is a sensitive topic, but one that the media is finally starting to cover with the seriousness it deserves: the cognitive health of the former president. For a long time, he has bragged about acing cognitive exams. But here is the reality check that we need to have. The test he refers to, the one where you have to identify a giraffe, a tiger, or a whale, is not an IQ test. It is not a test of brilliance. It is a screening tool used by medical professionals to detect early signs of dementia or severe cognitive impairment. When a leader stands on stage and boasts about remembering 5 words, person, woman, man, camera, TV, and presents that as a sign of genius, it actually signals the opposite. It suggests that the bar has been lowered to the floor. We are seeing clips where he can't remember if he took the test 3 times or 4 times. We are seeing speeches where he stumbles over basic names and concepts. And this isn't about being mean, this is about national security. The presidency is the most demanding job in the world. It requires complex processing of information, not just the ability to identify a drawing of a chair. The fact that this is being spun as a victory is a form of gaslighting the American public. And that gaslighting extends directly to the economy. If you listen to the speeches at the rallies, you hear that we are in a golden age and that we have the greatest economy in history. But if you talk to regular people, or if you look at the actual data from the Federal Reserve, the story is very different. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, who, let's remember, was appointed by this very same Republican leadership, has been dropping some hard truths. He recently noted that the economy has been losing an average of 20,000 jobs a month in certain sectors when you adjust for data overstatements. He talked about the risks to employment being on the downside. That is central banker speak for people are losing their jobs. The inflation numbers are also stubborn. We are seeing prices for goods pick up, and a major driver of that is tariffs. Tariffs are taxes on consumers. Period. When you put a tariff on imported steel or aluminum or on consumer goods, the company doesn't pay that. You do. The price of cars goes up. The price of appliances goes up. We saw a post recently claiming that rolling back environmental regulations would lower car prices by thousands of dollars. That is simply not true. The average new car price in America has hit $50,000. The average monthly payment is nearly $750. That is a rent payment for many people. Rolling back green regulations doesn't magically fix corporate pricing strategies or global supply chain costs. It's a distraction. And look at the farmers. The agricultural sector is often the first casualty in these trade wars. We are seeing headlines from the Midwest, from Missouri to the Dakotas, where farmers are saying that the government bailouts are not enough to cover the losses they are suffering because of tariffs. John Deere is warning about the strain. When you close off markets for American soy and corn through trade wars, you destroy generational family farms. Giving them a government check to stay quiet is not a business plan. It's welfare for a crisis that the administration created itself. Transparency is another major casualty right now. I want to highlight the story about the boat strike video. This is a specific incident that speaks volumes about accountability. There was a strike on a boat suspected of carrying drugs. The administration claimed it was heading to the U.S. It turns out it was heading to Suriname. 2 survivors were reportedly begging for their lives before the vessel was destroyed. The former president explicitly promised on camera that he would release the video of that strike. He said it was coming out. Now, he's walking that back. When a reporter from CNN asked him about it, he didn't give a policy reason for withholding it. He didn't cite national security clearance. He attacked the reporter. He said, "I thought that issue was dead," and then pivoted to attacking the network. This is a classic deflection tactic. When you don't have a defensible position, you attack the messenger. They are hiding the video, just like they hide medical records, just like they hide visitor logs. The default setting is secrecy. Finally, we have to talk about healthcare because this is literally a matter of life and death. The Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, is under siege again. There is a push to let the subsidies expire. If that happens, premiums will double or triple for millions of working families. Senator Bernie Sanders spoke about this recently, and his take is nuanced and important. He, like many progressives, wants a single-payer system, Medicare for all. He believes healthcare should be a human right, not a privilege tied to employment. But he also recognizes the immediate reality. He said that while we fight for that long-term goal, we cannot let the current system collapse. We have to extend these tax credits. The opposition, however, doesn't have a replacement plan. They have been promising a better plan for years. It never materializes. What they have is a philosophy that simply doesn't believe government should help you get health care. They view the ACA not as a safety net, but as an imposition. If those subsidies disappear, people with pre existing conditions, people with chronic illnesses, and people struggling to make ends meet will be thrown to the wolves. It is a quiet crisis that will result in preventable suffering. So, when you step back and look at the full picture, from the banned words in schools to the selling of citizenship to the denial of economic reality and the hiding of military footage, you see a pattern. It is a pattern of creating a separate reality, one where the rules don't apply to the people at the top, but the punishments are severe for everyone else. It is exhausting to keep up with, I know, but paying attention is the only defense we have. We have to look at the documents, watch the full clips, and read the court filings. We have to listen to what the Fed chair is actually saying, not what the politicians say he is saying. We are going to keep tracking these stories, digging into the numbers, and bringing you the facts that others might gloss over. The stakes are too high to look away. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about these issues, and please make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss our next update. We will see you then.